Greetings, Star here. Hi. This is going to be a reading for a collective reading for. It's going to be in honor of the Libra Full Moon and just the month of April in general. And I have from the previous reading last month, I've brought the last two cards, the Waterfall and the Wolf, along for this reading, and I actually just recorded a separate talk discussing them a little more in depth, and now I'm just going to go ahead and do this reading. And I thought I was going to use a different deck, but I'm actually going to use the deck that this Ten of Vessels card comes out of, so just know that that's not going to be an option in this reading. And I'll probably pull out some other decks too, but the Wildwood Tarot is, I just feel like there's a little bit more earthy Sagittarius stuff going on there, so anyways, I don't need to explain it. It's just the deck that's calling to me right now. And I felt a little conflicted because that card's not in it, but okay, first card, Queen of Stones, the Bear. The next card is the Wheel upside down. And the next card is the Eight of Stones. Okay, so Mama Bear, she is looking out, and looks like maybe the sun is setting, and she doesn't look too thrilled either. Like, her claws are out, and she's ready to protect her cubs. And bear energy is also very healing, right? So there's this fierce protectiveness and, you know, maybe a setting sun of what we've known consciously. But there's some deeper feminine wisdom and healing here. And also, it looks like she's in this cave and looking out into this wider landscape. So also, you know, like this, getting the bird's eye view or the bigger picture. Can see the whole picture, not just the up close. I feel like right now we're all so up close, so this bear is she's awesome. She's seen things and she's ready to go if needed. And then the way the cards are placed is, what is she looking at? She's looking at the Wheel reversed. I'm trying to get this so the glare isn't on it. And so the Wheel card is a major arcana card of movement, right? Of moving forward, of the wheel turning. And so it in reverse just speaks to us not knowing what the next turn is going to be, right? And sort of the trepidation that comes with that. The message I'm getting right now is, how can we just, how can we ask questions in a constructive way? So instead of spiraling into panic or the uncertainty just raising our anxiety through the roof, it's more of a we maybe don't have the answers, but have you ever heard that quote, like, the quality of the question matters more than the answer itself? So how can we begin to ask quality questions? And in all things, right? So the wheel card has day, night. It's like everything, all the polarities. So how can we let me just look at it upright here for a second. There's some cranes hanging out in the background. Okay. How can we accept that we don't have the answers, that we're being asked to stay in place, and construct questions that lead to investigation, or coming from a more curious place, or seeking a constructive quality versus just jumping to conclusions that catastrophizing or assuming the worst. And if that's happening, I say that with no judgment. I mean, a lot of trauma is being stirred up right now. So if that's the case, just be gentle with yourself and know that this is whatever's coming up for you is worth honoring, and might even lead you deeper into those questions. So we got the bear, and she's not looking directly at this upside down wheel. She's sort of surpassing it, looking like that's what's happening in the present. And then she's looking almost to this man in the Eight of Stones. And the card says skill. So that really is, like, fits kind of beautifully with this is a brand new beginning. Like, we don't quite know what's going to come of this yet. And what are your skills? What are your strengths? What if, like, I don't want to say the cliche, like, what can you bring to the table? But really, like, what do you value? What matters to you? And how can you bring, like, a skillfulness to this time? Or maybe you have the time to either develop your skills or give attention to those things that you really love, and begin to start to master them. And and maybe master is too high, aiming the bar too high right now, but just how can you approach it with more of a mastery mindset, with focus, with determination, dedication, devotion, to create. And then it looks like there's some bowls that are burning in this picture. A little handprint on the wall. Like, what, at the end of the day, like, what do you want your imprint to be? Whether, even if it's just your energetic imprint, that goes back to asking the questions of how How do you want to start the day? What do you want to do with the day? We're not just all trapped in this, how it was. It's kind of like the Etch-a-Sketch has been shaken clean. So from a clean slate, there is more room to create with skill. And so we also are seeing like a earth theme here. So we have the Queen of Stones and the Eight of Stones. I believe the wheel is, it's not an earth sign, but I think it's Jupiter. Is that right? And if so, so there's this transformative fire agent, kind of burning down what we know with it being in reverse. And yet we have this strong mama bear and this human with more like a back to basics, keep it simple, skillful, and just intentional. Sometimes doing something with our hands too can be a really good way to express and create and get out of our head, right? So our bodies are comprised of the earth. So the more we can be in our body, the more we can be connected to the earth. And I really feel like she needs us right now. So even just that is a skill, right? And it's tough because being in the body, if you're used to dissociating to cope, being in the body will put you in touch with whatever latent traumas are there. And then, you know, all of our root chakras have just been blown wide open right now. So that can be survival trauma in this life. It can be past life. There's just a lot that's up right now. So remember to breathe is going to be your best friend. And then I've personally been savoring the silence of like no traffic and what have you. Just take a few moments to breathe and ground into your body while I'm shuffling. Okay, the Ace of Bows. The Spark of Life reversed. Strangely enough, followed by the Sun card. So we have this like spark of life. That wants to come out, and yet it's being held back, or there's a delay, or just like a not knowing right now. But even this card in reverse, if you can see it, it almost looks like, what do you call it, like a sparkler, like one of those firecrackers. just blazing. So even though this card's a reversal, I still feel like there's a strong how do we find the spark within us, even though our world's been turned upside down, even though our direction forward is unclear, and that it's clear that it's a new beginning, but we have no idea how it's going to shuffle out. And so the reversal of this card, instead of it just being like a spark it up, it's when things are dark or uncertain, where is that spark within? That's what I'm feeling when I look at this reversed. And then also the trees reversed, like the branches up in the air, they look like more like roots. So how can we root to find our inner spark? Because we're going to need that inner spark. Like whatever your individual inner spark is, like we need it. You're here for a reason. And everything is slowed down and come to a stop, and it's like the reversal of this card is like we can't just shoot off in the direction, you know, like the sun's in Aries, and we can't just go in the direction we were intending like a month ago or 2 months ago or a year ago. So that's upside down, but it's clearing the way for a possibly maybe like a truer inner light to come to emerge. And then lo and behold, it does. I mean, look at this card. How can I get it so? There we go. Just bam, in the heart, shining brightly. And that's like a renewed vitality, right? Like the sun is our inner vitality. It just gives life. Like we wouldn't be here without the sun. So how can we just go stand in the sun and bask in it and let it heal our cells, let it shine down on us, and then shine through like from us, through our heart. Because in this card, the rest of the body is just in shadow, and yet it's the sun is Leo, and it also rules the heart, and it's also creativity, like, right? So that kind of goes to the question above it, like what do we want to create moving forward? And there's this like beautiful growth, flowers, just like sacred, like life is sacred, and our inner light is sacred. And how do we honor that? And that was confirmation. And then following that is the Page of Stones, the Lynx. She showed up in the last reading, so hello to this crafty little lynx again. And back to stones, right? So like a lot of fire and earth in this reading so far. And how do we, I apologize about that. Let me think on our feet is what I'm trying to say here. Forgive that. grieve on our feet. Do whatever we have to do kind of day by day, moment by moment as things continue to shift. And yet, this Lynx is very confident to me. And again, it's like the branches of the tree are very it's like this old, I swear, no one ever messages me. I don't understand what's going on right now. Basically that no matter like how twisted or gnarly or treacherous the landscape can get, how can we keep a soft foot upon it? And again, that goes with staying in like a center balance. So that goes back to the Sun card of just staying in our center. Like, lots of bright light coming through, and it's not so much like a cheery, positive, happy, bright light. It's more of there's even a sun in that card. So we've got a sun, like a spark. We've got this warm sky. We've got fire here and like light being shed. And it's almost like a reclamation of power, I feel like. How do we own who we truly are, what we truly care about, what truly matters in our heart? How do we ask the right questions and hone the skills needed to deal with whatever is in front of us? That lynx like looks like it knows a secret too. Like I get the sense of like, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay when I look at that lynx. There's this feeling of joy. Also, all the orange showing up is joy. Which, under all of the fear and panic, is what our true essence is, right? We have all these layers covering it up, but if we could get to it, that's what would be there. So, and then the next card, here we go with the fire again. 6 of bows. Okay, so poses fire. And in this card, there's like there's a harvest and abundance and like a steadiness and this great warm fire in the middle of the night. So how do we keep our light burning strong through these sort of dark, terrifying, and not that it's terrifying times, but just all the terror that is in the collective right now, and what change brings. And then the next card is the 2 of bows. Okay, so up here we had earth. And now we've got this bows, fire and earth. Okay. Again, strong harnessing of energy. And that's like, instead of harnessing the middle of two polar opposites, that's like taking two parallel energies and creating a third. Really strong. This is more of like, the Six of Bows is more of the stable creation. How do you keep the fire burning all night long? And the Dark of the Forest for protection, and then the Two of Bows, it's like he is in space. I'm not even sure what he's standing on. But like, he is harnessing the universe. So Earth is very feminine and fire is masculine, right? So there's also this idea of, how do we ground a rise? How do we connect with the earth, get into our bodies and ground, so that, because fire can just sort of fly off into the ether, and the masculine is a yang, perpetually moving out from the center. It would just keep going, right? So how do we use the two and harness okay, so these three cards just popped out, and I'm gonna save those and just pull the next card. I mean, he's a warrior. That's a warrior right there. He is not joking. Look at him. Hair, head. That is really, really strong creation energy. Maybe I should just put those three cards up. I want to see what those are, so I'm having trouble focusing. Okay, while I'm shuffling, I'm just going to go ahead and read what these all say, right? So we have the bear, the wheel, we have skill, we have the spark of life, we have the sun of life, we have the lynx, and we have abundance, and we have decision. And then the Five of Stones fell out. And it's endurance. Oh my gosh, with the fucking freaking flipping fire theme. Okay, so now we have we have the stones, which is earth, and fire, which I've just been saying this whole time. So, and that one just jumped out of the deck and fell onto the floor, which you probably heard. Okay, so I'm getting this sense that like trust that we're going to be taken care of. Like if you've been doing your work, have trust in the earth and know that this is a transformative, this fire is a transformative time. And we've got to ask the right questions, and there's going to be new things that we need to create, and new ways of moving forward, and decisions to be made. And this endurance card is like it's got a lightheartedness to it that surprises me. Like he's stoking the fire, and so you have to be present and aware to keep a fire going so it doesn't go out, right? So how do we keep our inner fire lit? How do we keep in touch with our heart in the dark, in the unknown? There's like lightning strike back here, which is can be the like bam, struck by lightning. We've all kind of just been struck by lightning, and it brings shock and change. And yet here's just this little human tending to the flames. So this reading has a totally different vibe than the last, which is good. The last had that very watery. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The last reading doesn't matter because we're here now. So this is really beautiful. I don't know if my lighting is well enough to see, but there's definitely like this orange red fire glow coming through, and this also makes me think of the sacral chakra, which is your second chakra, the one below your belly button, and that's creative energy, creation energy. So I guess we could say that April is going to have some great creativity, and that the more we can get in touch with the earth, feet in the dirt, heavy hips, deep breathing, slowing down, taking care of ourselves, getting rest, getting nourishment in whatever form needed, even when some of it may be lacking, how to supplement or find other forms of it. So that we can connect with this deeper inner fire, inner light, and what wants to spark and come into being. And how do we find our inner warrior and yet have the patience of the earth while at the same time essentially going through this transformation that is not like fire. It's like it's burning, it's hot, it's the alchemical process is not necessarily pain-free. But it is, fire is mutable, and there's a bigger picture and greater evolution going on here to maybe even get back to simpler times, to get back to honoring that sacred life within us and on this planet. And what's our part in that going to be? So the other three cards that came out were the King of Arrows reversed, that's like our mind upside down and not knowing how to, like normally we would just go about our day and go about the rhythms, and that's been interrupted, right? So it kind of feels like we're flying upside and down and backwards. I know I've had a few days like where I feel like what this card looks like in reverse. And I might need to look up, in fact, give me just a second. I'm going to look up what the Kingfisher is in a different book. The Animal Speaks. Thanks for your patience. I'm trying to learn all my spirit animals currently. And I swear I've seen him in here. Okay, so the Kingfisher is a long-time symbol of peace and prosperity. Okay, I don't have time to get into that. I don't want to keep you waiting. But like our peace can feel totally turned upside down right now. And this is an interesting card. Like these three cards just came out together. This is the exact order they came out in. So then the Three of Bows. Again, right above the Two of Bows. What do we want to call in to create? I mean, look at that. She's harnessing the earth energy. There's the sacred trinity. There's the polar opposites coming together. And I mean, the card says fulfillment. So that sandwiched in between those two cards is pretty amazing. Like, weird that birds just showed up in the reading, like out of nowhere. We've got the Kingfisher flying backwards, reversed, almost like the old way is just going out the window. What are we standing in our power to create? And then the last card is the Three of Vessels, which is joy. Three of Cups. That can also be friendship, celebration. And this card, I love the lighthearted goofiness of this card. And again, the Trinity. Don't give up on your peace just because it seems like it's flying out the window. You have more power than you think. And I mean, I hate to bring in my yoga where they say that the peace in your heart and joy is there no matter what the external circumstances are, but it's like I was just saying that it's there underneath all of it, and maybe this is a good sign that we're going to find our way back to it and come out stronger than we went into this. And like the triangle is the strongest form there is, so normally I would go ahead and pull a few more cards, but I feel like this is really complete, and I'm letting these get way too long-winded. We'll just pull one oracle card and then call it good. And I honestly don't need to shuffle this for another 10 minutes. When I'm in alignment with love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. Thanks for tuning in. Lots of love to you all. Be gentle on yourselves right now. Take care.